set for a reason. I do have to take off.
Oh, it's
pretty
8:30
soon.
already? Oh, shit. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Now that's a problem because there is gacha to talk about.
I can always
Final
talk about that
Fantasy.
later. I can cover the FF thing in like 2 seconds.
Okay.
And okay, so full transparency, the remainder of the segments on stream were intentionally me talking about Final Fantasy 1 because I played it over the past 2 days. I bought the Pixel Remasters on a whim when they were out. Played all of Final Fantasy 1. That's fantastic. It's such a beautiful Pixel Remaster. Certainly has problems, certainly has design changes that are a little bit iffy at times. Some that may or may not have trivialized the entire end of the game. But fantastic game. I'll play Final Fantasy 2, maybe 3 over the course of the week and bring more collected thoughts later, just because I think it's really interesting to talk in relation to FF14 about those, because honestly, they're fucking sick. But it's also a thing about gacha, because I want to have a big talk sometime about the cultural, actual, the cultural impact that gacha games are having, not the gacha nature.
Yeah.
But the actual games like Arknights, Genshin Impact, Honkai Impact in particular, and how games in the West, not necessarily the West, but more old school games like Final Fantasy XIV, as an example, World of Warcraft, or anything in the West could take advantage of that and actually go for it, because it's fucking... Basically, gacha games bring in so much money, they bring in so much talent that they can dance rings around anyone else, community-wise, even though they're a bit shit. And then we have our final topic, which is, of course, let's throw this up. This hole was not made for me. Or as I also called it, Sage Wisdom from YoshiP, because it's a joke. I can cover this really, really quickly. So the idea is this one on the left was causing Trypophobia in some Japanese users. So they provided feedback on the forums, which got a lot of steam. And then the developers responded and went, "We're sorry about that. Here's the new icon." That's basically the story, but it is just this idea that, in no time whatsoever, the dev team saw this feedback for what this icon was invoking in people, made a change that ultimately actually improved it anyway.
Yeah.
Because the fact that it they said less something, more dynamic. So they changed the Sage job icon to remove the idea of Trypophobia, and then, responded. YoshiP actually said something to himself, wrote this himself, explained everything much in the same way they did with the previous story, the one about the servers. When here you go, this is what people are afraid of. People are afraid of this. Sorry, we've done this. Here's a change. That's basically it. And I will say, Trypophobia. Apparently Trypophobia is a bigger problem in Japan. That's kind of weird. I'm not really sure what the...
Yeah, Junji Ito fucked them all up. That's what happens.
He definitely did. That's the reference to "this hole was not made for me." If you Google "this hole was made for me" manga, you'll find something interesting. But it's more the idea that this actually happened.
There'll
But
probably
also,
be a few things that are a little bit off color.
yeah, but also if you're
Harrison Lane, dear God, don't Google that.
don't
Google Trypophobia at your own risk.
Honestly, I remember the first time because I'm not like trypophobic really, but I remember the first time I had something vaguely akin to a bout of trypophobia, and I remember I spent the rest of the day sweating and shaking, and I couldn't focus. And it was, I don't even want to describe what it looked like, but it's very serious. It is very serious. But look at that. They went and they changed it. That's the story. Good job.
Yeah.
I mean, Blizzard would do something like this very quickly, I find. If it were accessibility related or something like that, that someone from the top down really exploded about. But I just think the idea that YoshiP is a busy man and went, here's, I've written down everything that's wrong with this. Here you go. Here's your fix. Thanks
I think these letters from YoshiP are great.
Yep.
I would love to see more similar things going on from the WoW team.
Yep.
And it's that thing, like I criticize the WoW team for communications all the time.
Yep.
I've also had like numerous conversations with Lore, who's one of the guys who deals with those communications, right? And it is totally that thing of, I mean, I don't want to like, I mean, it's like, it always seems like he's really trying and that like the Blizz team are really trying. And, in my head, it's like, well, I mean, how hard is it for a dev to just do the thing, just do the typing? But it just seems to me like, and especially from dealing with the EU office, which had great people, but could be frustrating to deal with because of just red tape and process and bullshit. It just seems like whatever communication like pipeline they've got, it's more agile here with FF14 than it is with World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Now they are doing, I noticed, a little bit of a better job. There's a few of the, hot fixes and stuff do come with dev insights.
Yeah.
That's really good to see. I want to see more of that. I guess it's just tricky because basically what happened is certain World of Warcraft dev who's no longer on the World of Warcraft team started, and quite a few people know this, started getting into fights with people in their DMs and Twitter.
Nice.
This individual I would characterize as a bit of a man-child and a snake.
Yep.
There's certainly... Oh, no,
yeah.
People in the theory crafting community, maybe some things regarding the last week and a bit of news too, would have some thoughts. But yeah, there was just an individual who started, a dev who started raging at people in Twitter DMs. And then Blizzard changed their internal policies and dev communications, which basically means that the devs don't have as much of an ability. And it's that thing, some devs definitely, if they were just completely free and loose, as we saw, a certain Mr. Sigma got some kickback from I say Mr. I believe their pronouns are actually any, so I guess that does fit. Yeah. From was it Monks? It was like years ago now.
Yeah,
but that was just an example of, you let the floodgates open and oh dear, little community drama happened. And I think for those reasons, Blizzard is institutionally worried and they're just thinking, mate, let's, these devs, we can't trust them with the Twitter account. Let's just say no tweeting over there. We've got this man. His name is Josh Allen. He has got he's in full plate, and he is going to be there with a shield, and keep these developers in their pen, nice and safe. Yeah. That's what it sort of felt like, where that's not ideal, and I don't know what the ideal solution here is because different people are going to have different things they enjoy doing, and maybe Ian's just not a tweeter. Maybe that just ain't his style.
Yeah.
If Ian's anything like me, a big introvert, certainly I do tweet quite a bit, even though I am that, but you get my point, right? Yeah. Different people, different structure, different folks. Are there those people in the WoW team who maybe they could get vetted by the PR people or something like that? And, it's just like, okay, for these people, they have a little bit more compensation because they're taking on an additional role. A bit like how a teacher in school, sure, you're an English teacher, you have your salary, but if you're also the English teacher who handles, you're on this bullying committee or something, you'll get a little bit more compensation. So why don't we have that set up for some of the WoW devs, and maybe some of those devs can get a bit of training, a bit of okay, hey, you might want to respond in an angry way to this. Don't. Or whatever it is. But I think something there to allow for more agile usage of their communications channels would be great. I don't know if this is the sort of thing where it would involve always going through the community management team, or if it would be that the WoW devs would have a pathway to take action that goes past the community team, because, the less stages in the process, the more agile you can be, the more stuff can happen. But either way, I would, just more of an ability to do that.
Please, yes.
The domination sockets, people have been kicking up a stink about those since beta. Those nerfs that came in there, I think those nerfs should be there. It's just they shouldn't be there like this. It should have been balanced at ship. People talked about it not being balanced at ship. There's a lot of criticisms to engage with, and I just feel like not having much public engagement with those criticisms is really, just damaging things. And it just seems like whatever they've got going on there, maybe there is a bit of a cult of personality around YoshiP. Seemingly people really look up to him and respect him because he's someone worthy of respect as shown by his actions. And that's why it is so successful for them. But it just seems like they need a little bit more in the WoW team.
Basically pretty much more on every team, I think, by comparison.
Yeah, like Bart has said here, consistency is key. 65 live letters, 15 to 20 hours of interviews every year, fan fest, 14-hour live stream, patch notes, small things like that. Good times, bad times. Yeah, build the goodwill. Yeah.
Yep.
It's all the people saying, what the fuck is trypophobia? You know what? Google it and you'll find out if you have it. That's how it works. But, do with caution, because there are some people who have a pretty like, whoa reaction to that. Like for me, I see some of that like spider shit and I just get grossed out and feel weird. But there's some people for whom it's actual fucking mind bullets.
Yeah, no, I remember, I don't even want to describe it, but it was basically, it was a Photoshop picture of someone's hand with all of the pores being expanded and taking a hexagonal shape. And I couldn't think straight for 3 hours. No, like, not even joking. I actually just, like, I was sweating. I was shaking. It wasn't a, like, rational reaction. It was properly an irrational, like, everything in my, like, monkey brain was going, no, get away. Get gone. Get out of this, please.
Yeah. You had no say in any of what was happening to your body at that time.
No, nothing at all. And that was, like, I think it's largely the same as, like, irrational phobias. Where it's just like, especially trypophobia, because I think it's like really, really deep in the human experience because of like the things it makes you afraid of. It's like insect hives, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything with that shape. That's really creepy. Really fucking creepy. But it's fixed.
Can you fight through your trypophobia to get a tasty handful of honey?
Yep, absolutely. Also being stung loads.
That too, yeah.